It had better be... good.
It's beautiful.
What you think something like that costs?
My soul, probably? Since I'd pay that?
Whoa!
Greetings, children of the screen, and welcome to the Batman I Believe In, the Bat-centric channel where we talk about anything and everything as long as it pertains to the Caped Crusader. And today, we're going to be talking about Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. Thank you very much for joining us. Friendly neighborhood nerd Scum here.
I'm Vic.
And I'm Rosie.
Yeah, that's right, guys. We haven't seen too much of these guys since we started the new channel, but they had a few minutes to come and chill thanks to the quarantine, so
Heck yeah.
we watched the movie, and now we're going to bloody well talk about it.
I am vengeance. I am the night. I am Batman!
That's right, guys. Batman vs. TMNT, the movie that came out in 2019. It is based on this I say based, that's probably a stretch, inspired by this very awesome comic book that came out, I believe it was like about 2016, and now there are 3 of them. They're awesome. Check them out. But today we're talking about this bad boy right here. So, guys, what did you think? Brief thoughts on Batman TMT.
Obviously, I loved it. There are a few things here and there that seemed off, but overall, absolute amazing idea. Batman and Ninja Turtles. Your thoughts?
I mean, pretty much the same.
Yeah. It's hard not to have a good time in this movie.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Very much entertaining.
Especially with the balances of, like, the humor, the dynamics of, like, you have the action going on, and it's just, it's all around just, it's good.
It's got a lot going on. You know? I mean, who would have thought that an idea like Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles would have a lot going on when they crossed over?
Right?
Can you handle all that? It's a lot of pizza.
Young lady, I assure you, there's no amount of greasy cheese bread that could surpass my abilities.
You're the boss, weird butler.
I offer to cook a gourmet meal, but they want pizza, teenagers.
Cowabunga!
Oh
no. Ooh, pizza.
Right on. So, considering the fact that we all actually really enjoyed this movie, and finding something to complain about it's going to be a little more difficult, why don't we go ahead and start off with the things that we didn't care for as much in the movie. Vic, I think you had something already in mind.
Yeah, so in the series, they all turn into these kind of, like, animal hybrids, because they take some kind of, what was it that it was?
The ooze from Ninja Turtles.
The ooze. But it's, like, purple and green now. But anyways, they inject it and they all turn into animals. But Harley Quinn, like, she clearly has this grin of a hyena, but she's blonde.
I mean, Harley is blonde, but...
She is blonde, but they made it really
like,
confusing. Everybody else has very distinct animals. Like, you know, Joker's a snake, and, you know, there's a polar bear guy. But then there's just Harley. She's just kind of there, and I feel like she deserves better.
Yeah, and...
She deserves better.
That's fair. And, like, they've got the costume on her a little bit still, so it hides a lot of her. And I could swear that in an interview or a commentary that it was pointed out that she was a dog and not a hyena, which I could totally be mistaken on that. That could just be my brain, like, filling that in, because she doesn't look like a frickin' hyena.
She doesn't. Her tail is also long, like a golden retriever's.
Yeah,
she
she looks like a golden retriever.
She does. Which
and
makes sense, because I guess she simps for Joker, but still.
It's just weird, though. It's weird. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Off-putting at most.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as for you?
The only thing I could really think of was that Poison Ivy didn't really get a fight scene.
Yeah. She wasn't really used very much at all.
Yeah, she's just like, hey, I'm here. Oh, I'm stuck. Okay, bye.
They really
Yeah.
did make it seem like she was gonna be there a little longer too.
Right. Well, they made her the scariest, most imposing, like, mutation creature. But yeah, then, like, she's grown roots, so she can't, like, reach them. It's like, that is a limitation of, like, any kind of, like, carnivorous plant, I suppose. But it makes sense, but it's also disappointing. Cause,
You know she could have busted those if they
Yeah.
really wanted to write it that way.
Right. And also, the fact of the matter is, like, it doesn't make 100... It depends on what version of Poison Ivy you're going with, but if she's, like, a Poison Ivy who can already control plants, then, like, you know, I don't know. So, yeah, Poison Ivy was a little bit weak. And there were a few characters that definitely probably should have got a little bit more forefront time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, like, with Poison Ivy, they have Tara Strong voicing both her and Harley Quinn. So it's clear Poison Ivy was not, like, a priority that was on the agenda for them. The designs that they used for are really cool, but, like, they're just not doing much with them, and it's just like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
it's a little thing, but it was disappointing to me.
yeah.
8 years of college, a 3-year residency, and he says nurse.
Attention, inmates of Arkham. Joker here, and I'm pleased to announce I've got a brand new medication regimen for you.
That's not how the ooze works, okay? You don't just magically make frickin' animals out of it. You have to have DNA and DNA, and like mix it with the Joker toxin, and it makes everybody crazy animal. It's a thing, and a thing. That's not how the ooze works. Kind of like a little bit of both y'all's kind of goes into my least favorite thing in the show, and actually in the movie. And the reason I say show here is because one of the things I will say is that while the animation is very well done and the action scenes are great, the actual character designs are very like TV animation. And even like before this movie came out, most of my hesitance about the movie before I saw a trailer and just had seen the art was the design specifically of like the turtles to a certain point. And it's something that like within the movie, it works out just fine. But there are definitely some character design choices that are run throughout this thing that I feel like the Harley Quinn thing, or like, you know, the decision to make Poison Ivy like the big giant like Resident Evil plant monster, or like they took Mr. Freeze who becomes a polar bear and they still make him a polar bear, but like they took away everything that made that idea really cool other than him just being a polar bear, which is very obvious.
Like, hey.
Yes.
Yeah. He just looked like a polar bear with an ice gun, you know? And it's like, and that's still cool, but it's like, and also Bane's supposed to be an elephant, but they made him like a jaguar tiger man? I guess because that's sexier?
Straight out of Cats.
But then later on, they definitely have a dude who is an elephant, and it's like, not only could you have made Bane an elephant and it would have been cool, but other elephant guy could still be Bane.
Yeah. They had the potential, they just didn't.
Yeah.
Well, any thicker than a Snicker.
But yeah, like, some of the design choices are really weird in the movie, and I also feel that, like, while it ends up working overall because it's a really fun time, the tone of the movie shifts wildly, specifically when it pertains to, like, the subject matter and the way the characters interact versus the fight sequences. The fight sequences definitely feel like they're out of a more mature movie, and then, like, all the scenes where the characters interact feel like they are an all-ages type show. So it is a little bit weird in that respect. Again, it all ends up working because I'm an adult watching it, and I like all those things, but I do feel that some of the tonal shifts are very abrupt, especially in fights where you're getting some pretty graphic, for what this is, violence, mixed with very kid-level humor. You know?
Like, oh, let's break his arm, and then, oh, he forgets he can just punch the buttons, kind of thing. And like,
yeah, exactly. And then you still have Donnie, like, hanging down there with, like, a limp arm, just, like, flailing in the
it's
wind.
like Harry Potter whenever his bones get dissolved into gel or whatever happened.
Yeah. So, overall it's a cool movie, but there are definitely some things that are like, hopefully for the next installment they polish a lot of that stuff. The turtle character design grew on me. Just fix Donatello's eyes. Just fix his eyes.
Yes.
Like, I don't know what's going on. I love that the turtles look distinct. They're all different. Fix his eyes. Fix Donatello's eyes. Like, what? I don't...
Perfect circles.
I think they're supposed to be trying to mimic bottle cap glasses, but, like, we get it. Donnie's a nerd. You don't have to give him glasses or, like, nerd gear. Like, he can just be a smart guy. That's fine. Okay, just fix his eyes.
You mean the turtles? Turtles.
You picked the wrong battle, warrior.
Alright guys, so now that we're done whining about trivial BS, what was absolutely awesome about Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Actually, the last thing that you mentioned is actually one of my favorite things. I love the contrast between, like...
The action and...
The action and the humor. I don't know, I like having a difference because my mind gets bored. If it's, like, all action, then I'm just like, it's just fighting. Like, why am I watching this? But if it's just humor, then I'm like, yeah, I still watch it. I freaking love humor. But... I don't know, having them together makes it less, like, you have more to watch.
Okay, and again...
They could have blended it better.
Yeah, and again, I think as adults or older, more mature people watching the show, I think that works out really well, but I do think that, like, the level of some of the character interactions is much geared toward much younger kids who,
yeah, for a kid's show, that's...
Yeah, and again, like, this going back, like, there are a lot of things for kids made in, like, the 80s and early 90s where you watch it as an adult now and you're like, is this really okay for someone who's, like, 5 or 6 to be watching? And I feel like this movie doesn't quite go that far, but yeah, it's like, as adults watching it, I feel it not blends really well, but I feel it works, and, like, we can, put those two things together and it's not a big deal and it's just fun because it's drawing from everything that we love. I was really saying that more from a point of view of, like, most of the movie feels so much like it's trying to be all ages that then you get to the action sequences and it's like, those don't feel all ages.
Yeah.
Especially, like, if you're going to advertise it as something that's for...
Yeah, for everybody.
All ages, and then
right. And, like, something that the books did very well is, like, so they had this version, which has a lot of silly ideas in it and everything, but it is clearly made for a slightly more mature audience. The art style depicts that, the tone of the book depicts it. It still has fun and does stupid things, but it's clearly made for, like, 13 and up. But then on the other hand, they put out the Batman the Animated Series versus TMNT, which was, like, the show that Nickelodeon had running, I think, from, like, 2012 to, like, maybe 2017 or 2018. It's a great show, one of my favorite versions. They crossed those two shows over, and because those shows can be enjoyed by adults, but are very much made for all audiences, it blended really well, and the tone was very specific. So they, like, split the difference in this movie, and kind of put those two ideas together, and it's like, it works for me, I enjoy it a lot, I just feel like it's a tonal shift, but I also could see why that's something that makes you really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
Because it does have something that you feel is for everybody, and it plays to all the things that you like, instead of, like, narrowing it down into one field.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll accept that answer.
This time.
Until you learn not to use it in the house.
Dude, no!
Calling me dude is not helping your case, young Master Michelangelo.
Come on, old Master Alfred.
Oh, that's not how that works.
And as for you, ma'am?
Honestly, I'm, like, super biased. My favorite part was just Michelangelo.
No, that's absolutely fair.
That's valid.
I love him.
Yeah, and like, it's weird. It's actually happened 2 different times for me. But yeah, watching this movie, it was when we got to Michelangelo's real first line, you know, and then like the scene where he's just like, dude, Gotham, and like he's just like in love with Gotham and the ridiculousness of it. I was like, okay, for all my like apprehensions about the art style and all that kind of stuff, I think I'm gonna enjoy this movie.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Mikey is a barometer for how well the creators of any given like show or movie understand the Turtles. Again, in that Nickelodeon show, I was very hesitant going into it. In fact, it had already been on for like a season or 2 when I finally like rented the DVD of the first one and watched it. And there's a moment in that where they're fighting these like robot dudes, and they don't know they're robot dudes, and they're getting their butts handed to them. And finally, like, Mikey's all by himself, and he takes his nunchuck. He's like, "Oh yeah, you want it? You got it!" Like, he gets all amped up and hits the dude right in the face with the nunchuck. But he's a robot, so he just stands there, and Mikey just goes, and it nunchuck falls down, and he just looks at the dude. He goes, well, okay then. And then just turns and runs, like with his arms up in the air. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna like this show.
Yeah.
So yeah, their Michelangelo is perfect. Yeah, he has the bat cowl on and is like trying to ride the mechanical dinosaur that is in the bat cave. Which was kind of my only real regret in this movie, is that like he didn't get to really ride it, because it is like, people think that's a stuffed dinosaur, but it's not. It's a robot dinosaur that Batman fought like back in the 50s and then brought back to the cave with him.
Why not?
Like,
Souvenir.
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
and every now and then, and I'm pretty sure they do it in one of the books. I'm a little fuzzy on it, but I'm pretty sure they do it in one of the books. Put it down in the comments. Let me know, even though I'm going to check when we're done with this. But yeah, like, dude, Mikey should have rid the dinosaur. I should put that in my least favorite things. That one thing.
He should have ridden the dinosaur.
Yeah, the robot dinosaur.
They took into account the fact that his head is much bigger than Batman's too.
Yes.
Like the little cowl is just like,
he's
woo!
got a mutant turtle head, and yeah, like the little ears are just flopping around up there. It's absolutely fantastic.
He did his best.
Absolutely. And yeah, like Mikey just has a bunch of great lines and a bunch of great moments, and again, I feel that actually the characterization on almost all of the characters is really good, except for Damien, who they make a little bit more of a kid, but with the tone they're going for, I don't really hold it against them.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I mean, he's just credited as Robin, so whatever.
They have to have at least one relatable character for the kids.
Right, exactly. You know, to make everything else kind of work the way it does. And
Oh,
like,
that one's me.
yeah, and he's still like
Me
stubborn
the
and
whole
stuff, but yeah. I feel like they have a pretty good grip on all the different characters and kind of distilling them into what they need to be in terms of the main cast. You know, the Turtles, Batman, Ra's al Ghul, Shredder, the Foot Clan, all that kind of stuff. You know, yeah, all that stuff works, and it all stems, I think, from understanding Michelangelo. Michelangelo is the warm little center that all the light of this world crowds around.
You gotta balance his humor and the fact that he's also a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
Like, he has to be able to kick butt, but he also has to have the comic relief moments that he's there for.
He's the heart of the Ninja Turtles.
He is. Oh, my baby.
When you get emotional over Michelangelo.
When you get emotional.
High 3, bro.
Michelangelo, press some buttons.
I'ma hit all of them!
I've always wanted to hit every button.
And as for me, I guess, my favorite thing, or things, no, it's my favorite thing, is just that it exists.
That's fair. Valid. Yeah.
Like, as someone who grew up on Batman and Ninja Turtles being my, like, primary 2 things that I loved, like, just the fact that this book and the other book, which I didn't pull it from the shelf, but I have, the fact that they exist for me already was like, this is just the coolest thing ever! I don't even care if it sucks! I don't even care that it says Cowabatka as one of the quotes on the back of it. I don't care. I don't care. It's just awesome that it even exists, no matter which version of the audience of those 2 that it's made for. And the same with this. Like, for all my complaints about, like, that's not how the ooze works, for, like, characters not being, like, done the way they were in the book, or not taken serious, or, like, the difference between the fight, like, despite all that stuff, just the fact that this movie exists is freaking awesome. And I will take it one way or the other. Like, it could be the Batman Brave and the Bold, which is one of my least favorite versions, although it has its moments. It could be that, and I'd be perfectly happy with it. I don't care. It could be Adam West Batman. I don't care. It could be like some kind of weird South Korean drawn anime Batman, like the video that we put out last week for Batman Gotham Knight. Check that out. It could be one of those Batman. I don't care. I just love the fact that it exists, and like the fights in it are absolutely awesome.
They are.
Like, it's everything I could really want from Batman characters fighting turtle characters. It's just, from top to bottom, it's like the things that I dislike about the movie are quickly swept away by me going, but look at that, that's cool. And look at that, that's cool.
You're just like,
yeah. It's like Joker's a snake. I don't know why. I don't care. It's awesome. I'll take it. So yeah, when the sequel comes out, I'm getting it. And
Hell
the
yeah.
third one comes out, I'm getting it.
You should let us know.
Yeah, we don't you guys worry. If there is another one of these, we will absolutely be covering it because I feel like, number one, no matter what, I'm gonna buy it, and number two, just watch this movie and see for yourself. I think we all recommend it.
Definitely do it.
Yeah, watch the
Especially
freaking
if you
movie.
like Batman. Especially if you like Ninja Turtles. Can't go wrong.
Yeah, just do it. Just buy the frickin' movie. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for joining us once again for another edition of The Batman I Believe In. Make sure and check out our new videos coming out every Monday at midnight. And, you know, same bat time, same bat channel.
Later.
adios.
Nerd Scum. Out. Cowabunga.